in the winter, we're spared from the.
All right, I'd like to close the meeting to order at 5:31. Good roll call in attendance. Joseph Bryant.
Here.
Ed Day.
Yo.
Josh Mutard.
Here.
Nick Shuey.
Here.
Chase Tibbles.
Here.
Serafini.
Here.
Todd Shiver.
Here.
Patrick Stanton.
Here.
John Dehan.
Here.
Gary Epp.
Here.
Brittany Wold. Seeing none. All right, Jessica Evenson. Let's see, Jessica Evenson and Brittany Wold. Go on to agenda approval. Minutes to look over the agenda.
Anyone else?
Move to approve.
I was going to make one comment. We have not heard back from the group who submitted the funding request on whether they would be here or not. I know with the holiday, we sent it out on Monday. So if we do choose to approve it, that we're going to hear it, we may have to table it until next week if they don't show up in the meantime, but we haven't heard back from them.
And to comment along with Joey, I know they withdrew from the Equity and Services Council funding process, so they may have dropped the event entirely.
Wasn't it last week though?
Yeah.
That was November 5th.
But if they withdrew from the other one, it seems like
that's what
they would have communicated this way too, right?
We can't assume.
Yeah, no, I know.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Is there a motion on the table?
There is, approve as is.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried. Going on to approval of minutes from the November 5th, 2014 meeting. Couple seconds to review those.
I do want to make one point of clarification. Just to clarify something that I said last week incorrectly, that when we do have a friendly amendment, you do have to have a second before the friendly amendment is put on there. So I had to double check on that.
Nick?
Comment for correction.
Good.
In the supplemental funding request, 1502 and voting for it, it stated that Chase Tibbles asked him, Nick from 2900 to Josh. Yeah.
We don't vote. Thank you, Nick. Any other comments or correction? Is there a motion on the table? Josh? Is there a second? Sarah? All those in favor? All of those opposed? Any abstentions? Patrick Stanton abstains. Motion carried. All right. Going on to reports. I have no official report. I would just say anything I say in this meeting is my own opinion and not the opinion of the United States Army. Did not have time to change today, so I apologize for that. Advisors?
Just a reminder, and it is at the bottom of the agenda, that we do have our committee pictures coming up, the December 3rd meeting. So make sure we're here as promptly as possible at 5:30 and dressed professionally. They will be posted online.
Cool.
So are you talking like suit and tie or just like button-up shirt like you're wearing?
Whatever you want to wear. Either way.
Not a tank top.
Yeah.
All right. We're going on to public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing none, move to old business, which also seeing none, we can move to new business. Supplemental funding request. We need to vote to consider supplemental request for 204. Advisors, do you want to provide the background information on this, Ed?
Well, I was unsure of what to do. I mean, according to the form and the rules for the form, it was received late. And basically the form says, please note timeline for requests, late requests will not be considered. So I thought I would bring this to the committee to see if you really, but if you wanted to go ahead and consider it. It's for a conference that starts on the 14th, 2 days from now.
Just to comment on previous funding requests, we have in the past committee did vote to hear one that was not within the timeline, and we did hear one this year that was not within the timeline. But it was the extenuating circumstances was that we had no meetings or had no ability to put it on the agenda until a week before the conference. So, is there any discussion on this? John?
I would just say, again, it is outside of what the requirements are in terms of our timing of that, but it is up to the committee as a whole on if we want to allow it, whether there's extenuating circumstances or not with that you all can still choose to hear it. Again, knowing that doesn't necessarily mean we would fund it, but please be aware that this may also set precedent for the remainder of the year. So lots of things to consider.
John?
We also penalized the group for being late with the report last year as well.
With a program review, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, we did.
So
John?
the timeline, what's the timeline?
I believe the Constitution, whatever it says, 14 days. I believe
Yeah, it's.
14 working
I
days.
didn't bring it, but
All right.
it's basically like
3 weeks, yeah.
notice because.
It's like 1 week.
Anyway, if you were to listen to it tonight, or listen to it tonight, vote next week, and then it's got to go to budget and finance committee, that could easily take 2 weeks. Before they'd be assured that they will have it done.
And really, that rule is for them to be able to properly plan their function or event or whatever they're requesting for. Is there any other comments or discussion?
Do we have any, I mean, with some of the other requests that we allowed to be heard late, we had sort of an explanation for why. I think there was one that was, like, they didn't know who was going until the very last minute. Do we have any sort of information about this group and why
Nick?
they're asking so late?
Sure, so like I explained at the beginning of the meeting, they withdrew their funding from the Equity and Services Council because they needed a 2-week timeline as well. I think it was actually 21 days, 3 weeks to get a funding package like this put together for them so that they would be able to travel to this conference, which I believe is in Portland, Oregon. So with pulling $200 away from their funding already, that means we have to add an additional $200 for them going through the S&A. There's services and activities for them because they've already had $200 withdrawn from the Equity and Services Council.
And it looks like they did no fundraising for the most part.
So,
And
but
they're not here tonight to make these.
Is you even in the gallery here for the for this request for the Oregon Students of Color Conference?
No.
Nobody? Okay. So there's nobody here tonight too.
so what you just said was that they didn't get funding from
No.
the ESC.
They did not receive money from the Equity and Services
Okay,
Council.
they had it on here that they requested, but my question was more about, do we know why they're requesting these things so late? Like,
Nobody's here to
nobody's here to
No,
answer.
no information.
They didn't provide that information. Okay.
So if there's no motions, then we move on. Right?
No, we have to vote to consider, so we have to vote whether or not to not That makes sense.
Mhm.
Words are hard.
Yeah, I got you.
It's not an easy one. Sure.
I do want to point out, since I have the guidelines in front of us, it does say supplemental requests should be received at least 15 academic days. So 3 weeks most of the time before the activity to be funded.
And when did we receive this?
We received this on, it says right on the top of it, November 5th.
So 7th.
Could we table?
Potential. John?
Okay, well, if they're not here to answer today, what if we move it to next week and they're not here next week as well? Does it just die? Does it just go away?
So, what we can, Dr. Trevor said we can table it and vote on it next week to consider it, or and wait for further information because there may be an extenuating circumstance, or we can vote tonight to say no, we do not want to consider this, or yes, we do want to consider it. So those are our 3 options. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll put mine in the form of a motion. We table this for the next meeting.
So the motion on the table by Dr. Shivert is that we table this till next week, and we will reach out to this group and ask for any extenuating circumstances or information. Is there a second to that motion?
A second.
John Dehan seconds. Is there any discussion on this? Josh?
So what I'm just thinking is that if we table it, like I want to know why they're not like here today if they know.
Oh, well, I thought at the beginning of the meeting you said that there was a holiday, you notified them on Monday, and we might have gotten it. I'm not making excuses for them, but it is an odd, weird week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not, tabling it doesn't mean that we have to approve it or even vote to
Yeah.
hear it next week,
Yeah.
so it's just sort of postponing it until we have more information.
Any other further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of tabling the vote to consider supplemental request 1504, the Oregon Students of Color Conference, in the amount of $600. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. All right, subsection A.2 does not apply. Moving to subsection 9, other business, any communications received? I have not received any communications. Ed, Joey?
No.
Okay. Going on to section 10, public comment, second call. None? Oh,
Oh, I just wanted to let everybody know, next week I'm gonna be at a conference in Baltimore. Shockingly. I will be here.
I just want to put it out there again that we still do have 1 faculty position open and 1 student position open on the committee. So if you know individuals, please either send them to Nick for the students or to Faculty Senate on the faculty side.
okay.
I think there was 1 student last week who we sent to you. Okay.
John?
Yeah, the OPR group, did we get back how much they fundraised at Utopia?
We did not, but I don't believe we had a stipulation that we required them to. We could always reach out to them and request that they come back, but there's no stipulation or approval for them to do that.
Will their report back be this following Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday? Because their event is this weekend, I believe.
Typically, there's not a required report back. Some groups do it just as a thank you, and so, but there's nothing that's been required of them.
But if they don't spend all the money, they hit the wrong.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That comes back.
Yeah.
Any other further public comment? All right. With that being said, I want to remind everybody that our next meeting will be on Wednesday, November 19th here in Circ 301 at 5:30. Second reminder, tonight the community pictures are scheduled for December 3rd here in 301. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Sarah,
All right.
so moved. Nick Shuey,
Second.
second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, meeting adjourned at 5:46.
A little bit more progress tonight.
Yeah, keep myself away.
Now,
Right.
now we change things.